Daredevil, the case of the killer who hated death. Strange and weird tales have been told of the human mind and its many mysteries, tales of horrible nightmares that really became facts, of people who have two sides, like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, who by day were peaceful men but at sunset, they became vicious monstrous killers. But none can rival the wild fantasy that will unfold within these pages, so, dim the lights and lock your doors well, for this monster might strike even you. Tanya, come in. Rather late for a social call, so I presume it's important. Tanya, cut it out. Ugh glug, ul. Next morning as Tanya Saunders awakens. Ooh. My head. What an awful nightmare, and so clear. In my dream I strangled Judge Reed, of all people. Extra. Moiter. Read all about it. Boy. I'll take one. Oh. Judge Reed was really strangled last night, exactly as I had dreamt it. Could I have done it? No, course not. How stupid of me. Hello, Bart. Oh Bart, please come over, something very strange happened to me, hurry. Is that all? You called me here for that? Whew. A dream. I thought it was something serious. Sometimes you're impossible. I tell you, Bart, the dream seemed so real. Yet, I must admit I'm a bit silly about it. What amazes me, is how my dream followed the exact pattern of the actual murder. I've heard of cases like that before, but most of them are manufactured stories. However, Miss Jekyll and Hyde, don't give it another thought. Too bad about Reed. Probably killed by a mug he'd sent up. I guess so. Thanks for coming, Bart. But was it just a dream, or is Tanya living two lives? At midnight, 2 days later, Chief of Police, Scott, has a caller. Hello, Tanya. Come on in. What is the ugh? Don, ugh, error. Once again Tanya Saunders awakens after a troubled sleep. That awful dream again. This time it was Police Chief Scott. Oh, there's the phone. Ring, ring, ring. Good morning, Joan. Who? Don't tell me he was strangled last night, was he? Tell me, was he? Why yes, Tanya. But how did you know? The news hasn't been released yet. Tanya hung up. That's strange, she seemed to know all about it, and John just called from the paper. She's been acting very strangely these last few days. I can't make her out. Parks. Parks. Come here quickly. Did you hear anyone moving about this morning? No one, except yourself, when you went out at midnight and came back at around 1, is that all, ma'am? That cinches it. He was killed between 12 and 1. I am a Jekyll and Hyde. I must call Bart. Thank heaven, I haven't dreamt about you, Bart. I've got to give myself up before I kill all of my friends. Nonsense. You're doing no such thing. It's too clear in my mind to be a dream. There's the coroner's inquest this noon. Let's have a good look at this case. At the coroner's inquest. Sit here, Miss Saunders. The purpose of this meeting is to establish the cause of death only. So confine your answers only to the questions and facts. Now proceed. You were the maid at the home of the deceased. Please tell the court exactly what happened last night. Oh, yeah, sure. Some dame called about midnight saying she'd be comin' over. The chief let her in, but I got a squint of her. Will you describe her the best you can? Oh yeah, sure. She was blonde and pretty, I'd say she looked like Miss Saunders sitting there, but that's dumb. She and the chief were the best of friends. What's dumb about it? That was me you saw. If the court pleases, I confess to the murders. Tanya, don't. The courtroom is stunned at Tanya's astounding confession. You mustn't listen to her, she's ill. She doesn't know what she's saying. Quite you. Back to your seat. Now I've seen everything. This inquest is over. Hold that girl for murder. Radio. Today is the day little Tanya goes on trial for her life. Today the blonde Venus steps on the scale of justice. The country is aghast and baffled. This is by far the strangest murder trial on record. The socialite has no defense. She will not plead insanity. If she is found sane, the state will demand the extreme penalty of death. This case of the state versus Tanya Saunders for murder of Police Chief Scott. The state calls Gerald Parks to the stand. Mr. Parks, you are the butler for Tanya Saunders. Tell us what took place the night Scott was murdered. About midnight I heard a noise at the front door. I looked out and saw Miss Saunders leaving the house. Another state witness takes the stand. It was very strange the morning after Chief Scott was murdered. I called Tanya to tell her about it. Please tell the court what made that seem strange. Well, she knew all about it and I just knew she couldn't have. You see, at that time the news had not been released. That's all. Thank you, Miss Cram. She has been proven sane. There is no killer more hateful than one without a motive. There is but one verdict: guilty. The state rest. The court is on edge as the judge charges the jury. And it is your duty to weigh the evidence carefully and remember she is innocent until proven guilty. The jury is out only 5 minutes, then. Foreman of the jury, have you reached a verdict? Yes, Your Honor. We find the defendant unanimously guilty. Will the prisoner please step up to the bar? Chin up, kid. You have been found guilty by a just and fair jury. I cannot have pity for you. Those men trusted you and were paid with death for their trust. You will be taken to Greymoor prison. There you will be put to death as prescribed by the law of this state. She's fainted. You smug bunch of stuffed cabbages, this poor kid never hurt a fly. Any dope should be able to see that. Goodbye, darling. Please take care of yourself and forget about me. I'm sure this is the best way. Forget about you? What a laugh. I'll never stop digging for the truth behind this madness. Goodbye, sugar. All aboard. Okay, is she really guilty? Those witnesses seemed honest enough, but she had no motive, and I don't believe that Tanya had the strength to strangle even a midget, no less Reed and Scott, both big men. For the next few days, Bart Hill searches for evidence aimlessly. I've questioned all the witnesses personally, I've tapped their wires, read their mail, and still no clue. Beneath the home of Playboy, Bart Hill winds a secret ancient tunnel now used only when he is the mighty Daredevil. Its mouth is connected with the city's vast underground sewer arteries. This will be the first time that I break the law, but Tanya will not die tomorrow. The grim silence at Greymoor prison is broken only by the hiss of the Daredevil's boomerang. Straight towards its mark, crack, and a guard drops. A crashing right to the jaw fells another. So help me. I hate to do this. It's either your jaw, or Tanya's heartbeat. In the main corridor, he meets a serious obstacle. Freeze. Or I'll drop ya. Now, up with em. Think fast, Daredevil, think fast. You heard me. Get em up. Yes, sir. The guard did not see that as Daredevil raised his arms he lobbed his boomerang in a perfect arc. The stunned guard gives the man of daring his opportunity. Clunk. This is the death house. Tanya is in one of these cells. Tanya. Daredevil, we'll go anywhere. South America maybe. Hurry, those guards might come to any second. Hurry. No, dear. I'm not going with you. If I did, I would never live in peace. It would make you an outlaw. I know you'd rather die than become a criminal. I've been here a month. Had no dreams and no one is dead, so you see I'm a constant menace. Chained at night, feared by day. It's best for all of us this way. Have my belongings auctioned off and the money given to Britain's defense. A revived guard shrieks out in alarm. There he goes. After him. Where is everybody? This is how I got in and this is how I go out. She's determined, I can't reason with her. At 11:56 Tanya walks the last mile. This can't be me. The 0 hour and Bart Hill is by himself with grief. I've begged the governor but no soap. I guess if the victims hadn't been such big shots he might have come around. Guess it's too close to elections. Her folks are in London, so everything will go for aid to Britain. She said for you to take anything you want. Poor soul. She couldn't have done it. Say, what do you mean by coming into my room without knocking? Sorry. Thought you were gone. I'm checking the furniture in the building. Do you have any prospects? Yes, I have a job waiting, thanks. If you'll excuse me, I must catch a train. By the way, have you been to any masquerade parties lately? No, why? Oh. Those shoes, they're my sister's. A circus giant, eh? These are size 10s and these other things. Okay, wise guy, you ask too many questions. Here is my answer to all of them. Get moving downstairs. 1 Peepin', you're a clay pigeon. Judas Priest. Why didn't I find this out yesterday? She would still be alive. I'll get this ape if it's the last thing I ever do, but as Daredevil. Here's my chance. So long, Parks, I'll leave you now. But I'm sicking Daredevil after you. Got away, the cat's out of the bag. But I'll kill anybody that's in my way. I'll make for the city. Seconds later. I hope you don't give up too easily. I'd take keen joy in slapping you to H, and back. Daredevil. That. For your boomerang. Now you queero, come and get it. What? That was a good shot, tisk tisk. No more bullets? Ball 1 too high. Now it's my turn. Strike. Right across your upper plate, say. This is just getting good. Why don't you try your hands around my throat? I'll fix ya, you bum. I'll be right with you. No one will ever know your throat is slit. Your blood will blend into that costume nicely. What a beautiful thought. I didn't know you had an artistic soul. You overlooked one thing. I overlooked nothing except reloading my gun. You forgot that there was another sword on the wall. So what? I can still give you the death of 1,000 cuts. There's just one thing, Parks. Since you're so sure that I'm going to die, it won't hurt you to tell me why you committed those murders. Since you put it that way, yes. I'll tell you. You see, I had a brother once whom I loved very much. He worked for the state. He knew too much, and a certain big shot had him framed for murder. He fixed the judge and jury so that my brother got the chair. Then I swore revenge on everyone connected with, oh my sword. Keep talking. How did you make Tanya dream and believe that she strangled those guys? I knew she was friendly with some of those big guys. Innocently she hired me as a butler. Then I planned patiently for a year. When I got my chance, I got a certain dope from an old maid. It was supposed to put people under hypnotic spell. Tanya used to take lemon and hot water every night, so I slipped the stuff in it as the maid passed by. In a short while she was under the spell of the drug. I came back disguised as her. You ring the bell. He lets you in. You remark about his tie. You adjust it. You put your fingers around his throat and squeeze. You see, then I went out and killed those guys in exactly that way. I'd have committed the perfect crime if that jerk Bart Hill hadn't called you. You dirty scum, I'd love to run you through letting that innocent kid take your rap. Come on, let's get going. Greymoor has a distinguished but a raging visitor in Governor Larkin. I'm going to get a new warden in here. A guy who knows what time it is. If you want my resignation, you can have it as of today. But I can't blame the executioner, for I'd have done the same thing. Get this, Governor, I pulled the switch on 161 of them, but I'd be fried myself before I'd hot seat Tanya Saunders. Anyone with an ounce of respect for the law would have pulled that switch. You're no executioner, just a killer who hates death. What's that commotion? Heard you were here, Governor. I came to trade you alive Tanya Saunders for the dead one. Daredevil, he's got her. It's a little worse for wear, but here's his signed confession. Governor, you've killed an innocent girl. This little document finishes you in politics. You're wrong, my man, that little document will get me another term. Bring in the dead Tanya, boys. Tanya, you're alive. Daredevil. I had a dream about you last night, but it was very very sweet, Mr. Daredevil. Yes sir, that's what I always say at the Capitol, you're the best warden I have in the state. Here, have a cigar. Thanks. Now about that new job I was speaking of, Govey. Next month, Daredevil in the Sport of Death.